All right. I call to order this regularly scheduled meeting of the 34th City Council for March 7th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Please, everyone in attendance, just a reminder to silence your phones as to not disturb the meeting. And Mr. Clerk, can we have the roll call?
Councilmember Enos.
Here.
Councilmember Hammoud.
Here.
Councilmember Abraham.
Here.
Councilmember Paris.
Here.
Councilmember El Sawafi.
Here.
Councilmember Herrick.
Here.
Council President Sereni.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. At this time, I'd like to turn the meeting over to Councilman Gary Enos.
At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce Father Terrence Kerner of St. Kateri Catholic Church, who will give the invocation at tonight's meeting. Everyone who is able to please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
And let us pray. Almighty and eternal God, we invoke your blessing on our gathering tonight. We ask your blessing on our nation, our community of Dearborn, and bless our first responders as well, and all citizens who labor for our peace and our security. Guide our citizens to appreciate and embrace the blessings of freedom they've been given. The freedom to choose who will govern, the freedom to speak our minds and extol our virtues, the freedom to live justly and worship reverently. O God, the giver of all good gifts, we especially seek your blessings on our Dearborn City Council this evening. Bless them with a commitment to collaborate unselfishly for the common good. Bless them with wisdom to understand the complexities of governance and appreciate the talents of one another. And gracious God, bless our council members with truly a deep respect and love for all of Dearborn citizens and the city that they call home. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Father. Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Clerk, first item of business is the public comment section.
Correct.
Yep, the council rules allows for a 30-minute public comment section that will, if anyone from the public is here pertaining city business, please fill out one of these green cards. We'll use those first, and then once that has been done, you can come forward. Again, there is a 3-minute limitation. I please ask you to respect that, and this is regarding city business as well. So the first speaker card we have is Dr. Magushin.
Oh, thank you, sir.
All right.
My name is Dr. Mujgan.
No, ma'am, this is not a play.
Oh,
You step up to the microphone, you say your name,
okay.
and you address the council. You're not addressing the audience.
All right, I'm sorry.
Okay?
I did
Just want to
not
make it
realize.
clear.
Yeah.
Okay?
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Mujgan Sababi Esfahani. I am here to urge you to pass a resolution and ask for to declare that you are against military aid to Israel. Israel, I am sure you all know better than me that it is a racist apartheid state. It's been in the business of murdering Palestinians for as long as I remember. I remember in 2006 when I was in Lebanon and the bombing of Israel and how many people's lives was turned upside down. I remember that perfectly clearly. I remember the years I was in Palestine teaching and how life is full of fear and constant torture for every Palestinian. And I know that in your heart, every one of you knows that it is a bad idea to give more military aid to Israel. All I'm asking you guys to do is to say that you are against military aid to Israel. It's a very simple statement. I have tried to be true to the students that I taught in Palestine for all the times that I've been outside of Palestine. I told them I will never stop fighting for you. I will tell the world what life is like here. And I will fight to the day that I die against the apartheid state of Israel. And you know, you see my hair is white now. It used to be very, very dark black. And I will continue to commit to that promise that I gave my students when I left them, while crying and hoping that I could stay, but I couldn't stay. Life was too complicated, and besides, you can't really stay there too long. They'll kick you out. What I'm appealing to is your sense of humanity. Even if you think, Council Member Hamoud, if you think that this is not going to accomplish much, I think you're wrong. It will accomplish a hell of a lot. It will tell Israel that you cannot murder people in cold blood and get away with it. It will tell Israel, back off. Right now, in Jenin, they are killing people. Every day, if you listen to the news from Palestine, your heart will be wrenched. You will not be able to continue doing your daily work because it is sheer torture. And the torture that Israel inflicts on people is not only in Palestine. I am a native of Iran, and Israelis have assassinated our scientists.
You have 15 seconds.
All I want to say is thank you for letting me speak to you. Please support this resolution. We are against military aid to Israel. Nobody in their right mind could be against that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor, for your comments. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
The next speaker we have is Ms. Nora Smith.
Good evening. I appreciate you allowing me to speak. I'm a longtime resident. I served for the city of Dearborn for 28 years. I retired in 2020. And I'm here to discuss healthcare. I negotiated a lot of contracts. I worked on negotiation teams for 20 plus years. So I'm really familiar with the contract with the municipal workers of Dearborn, better known as MWD. I know what the intentions were when we were negotiating. I know what the previous administrators allowed us to have. I know that the concessions that were made so that health benefits would pretty much stay intact for current employees as well as retirees. One of the concessions that specifically was hammered out was that current employees would be not eligible for retiree health care once after June of 2010. So I'm familiar pretty much with, why we had concessions that we had regarding health care so that we could keep it intact. Well, I know the familiar position that the council has regarding the millage and the fact that it didn't pass, and that's the primary reason that you made adjustments to the health care. But I characterize that as an excuse and not a true reason, because I have noticed the new spending that's going on with the council. There's, I think you're just trading off the employees for other things that you would rather do. And you have that prerogative, but I believe there's money available. And I'm thankful for the benefits that I have. I'm not, I have a better situation than a lot of people, but you basically painted everybody with a broad brush, and there are people that are really struggling with this new healthcare system. And I think it's important that you understand that people that were retirees from the early 2000s don't have the money in different Gallagher studies and things that were done
I'm
after
sorry your time has
that
expired.
fact. And so I think you need to really look at this because, you know, the benefit changes, you continue to compare it to the public sector, and you really can't because they're 15% more in pay in a lot of those jobs. So,
Ms. Smith,
and that's
thank
on
you.
the conservative side.
We appreciate it. Thank you very much for your comments.
But there's one more item that I
know
need to.
you. We have a 3-minute time limit.
I
and
know,
you've
but there's-
expired your-
there's-
Ma'am,
there-
I understand, ma'am.
There's
the
one
council-
more issue, though, that's really important, please.
Okay, go ahead, I'll allow it.
I'm having problems because I can't get them to correct my health care. I have this new program, and I've gotten my husband's corrected, and it seems to be working okay. He's on the Medicare part. I'm on the regular pre-Medicare. And now they've put me on Medicare, even though I don't belong there. And my billing is getting all screwed up.
Okay,
And
ma'am.
I've been working with Joanne, and Joanne's trying to get it corrected, but it's not happening. I've been working on this since the beginning of January. And I don't know what more to do.
Well, what
I've
we're gonna
got
do, Ms.
bills
Smith-
coming in because I had knee surgery.
I understand. Ms. Smith, what we'll do is we have your information. I'm gonna make sure that our council executive forwards it to our administrative department that handles this. We've had another lady that came the other day expressing concern, so we will get you some answers, but I just don't wanna give information whether you should be or shouldn't be on Medicaid. That's not like a choice whether you should or shouldn't. There's parameters by the federal
Well,
government.
yeah, I don't
Well,
qualify.
I know, but it's not, you're making it sound like we flipped a coin and picked one for you.
No.
I understand.
I understand it's an administrative thing. I'm not blaming the city.
You just said you shouldn't be on it, so I don't
Yeah.
want to tell the residents that if, that's not up to us. It's a
Yeah.
federal, these are state and federal laws.
Right.
So what we're gonna do, right, so that means that we don't have control over that, they're set, right? If either you're on
Yeah,
Medicaid or you're
but
not.
the city needs to tell my Blue Cross
Right.
what plan I'm on. And
Absolutely.
get that straightened out.
So what I want you to do, if you don't mind, I'm gonna give you this card back just to put your email on it. It didn't have a phone number, and I'm gonna have you give it to our council executive, Jackie, and we will get the response back for you.
Okay.
Promise. Okay? Jackie, you just want to give this to her and just put the other information, and we'll get back to you, okay? Okay, thank you. Next speaker is Blaine Coleman.
I want to thank the council president for showing compassion to the last speaker. I really haven't seen that in other city council meetings. Tonight, I want to ask you, if you can, to show that kind of compassion to the Palestinian people, to the Lebanese people, to everybody who's getting bombarded by Israel. Israel has threatened to bomb the Beirut airport, as you know. Israel is now getting crazier than usual and killing more Palestinians than usual, faster than usual. There actually is something we can do about it, which will actually frighten the government of Israel, and I hope you will do it. Pass a resolution, 7 little words: we are against military aid to Israel. I brought a board that said that. I'll say it again. We are against military aid to Israel. The resolution is very short, sweet, to the point, and I promise you it will have an impact. It will be in the Jerusalem Post within 48 hours. It will tell the Israeli government and military to back off because more city councils are coming. I don't know if you know this. The Hamtramck City Council just 1 week ago approved a resolution for Palestinian rights, against occupation, and most importantly, against military aid to repressive governments. This was a giant step for a city council of the size of Hamtramck. With all of the burdens on them, they took the time, didn't take much time, to approve that resolution, and I hope you will approve an even more direct resolution. We are against military aid to Israel. In the little time it takes you to approve that resolution, you will save a lot of Palestinian lives and probably a lot of Lebanese lives, because Israel is going crazier than usual. You can slow them down. The mayor and also Majority Leader Ayash proposed a very, very similar resolution 2 years ago in the Michigan legislature against military aid to Israel. So it's not a new idea. By the way, it was a great resolution. I would love to see it approved here, but it's too long. People would be arguing about it until 3 o'clock in the morning. A simple resolution that no one can argue with. We are against military aid to Israel. And I hope you can suspend the rules and get it done tonight
You have 15 seconds.
before your phone starts ringing and you get cold feet. Thank you very much. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Mr. Coleman. All right, at this time, I don't have any more green comment cards, but we are open for the public comment. If anyone here would like to speak to the council during this public comment time, please step forward and state your name and address for the record. And please keep it to the 3 minutes as well as to city business. Okay, hearing and seeing none, we will close the public comment section at this time. Before we move to our consent agenda, are there any items that any member of the council would wish to remove from the consent agenda and discuss individually? Okay, hearing none, Mr. Clerk, you can proceed.
Item number 5, a resolution in the need of offer and support, approving all the items on the consent agenda.
Support.
Offer by
and requesting
Councilman
immediate
Herrick.
effect.
Sorry. Yeah, it's okay. It was an offer by Councilwoman Herrick and support by Councilman Hamud. Okay, Mr. Clerk, can we have a real call vote?
Councilmember Enos,
Yes.
Councilmember Hamud,
Yes.
Councilmember Abraham,
Yes.
Councilmember Paris,
Yes.
Councilmember El Sawafi,
Yes.
Councilmember Herrick,
Yes.
Council President Sereni.
Yes.
The resolution is passed unanimously.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, thank you. Next item, please.
Item number 9, resolution by Councilmembers Enos and Hamud approving the minutes of the previous regular meeting of February 21, 2023.
Okay, are there any additions, deletions, or modifications to the minutes? Okay, if not, unanimous roll will be attached. Next item, please.
Item 10, ordinance number 23-1785, introduced by Councilmember Enos. Synopsis, an ordinance to amend the building and building regulations chapter 5 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Dearborn by amending section 5-333, 5-335, 5-336, 5-337, and 5-339 of Article 12 entitled Signs.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. A study session was held on December 14th of 2022 to discuss the amendments being proposed. The proposed amendments remove all regulations on accent lighting, increase the total number of temporary event signs in all zoning districts from 4 to 6, and remove the permit requirement for temporary event signs and remove content-based regulations for banners on the right-of-way. The following amendments are being proposed, removing the references to accent lighting found in section 5-1333 and 5-1335. This change avoids the overlapping regulations between the Code of Ordinances and our zoning ordinance that may lead to confusion for sign holders and inspectors. Restricting the subject matter of advertising logos and banners on certain city-owned property or to commercial transactions and corporate sponsorships. These changes are being made so that the city complies with federal case law concerning content-based restrictions on non-public forums. We also are proposing to remove content-based regulations on content that may be displayed on electronic signs, increasing the number of temporary event signs from the 4 to the 6, and removing permit requirements for temporary event signs in all zoning districts, removal of the duration of limiting 60 days of consecutive temporary signs as in residential, commercial, and industrial, as regulated and potentially as unconstitutional as well, removing content-based regulations on banners in the right-of-way, and reducing the penalty of this violation from a misdemeanor to a civil infraction. This is the first of 2 readings, and we did have some comments at our committee of the whole from our director, and I did have our council staff prepare us item number 10 revision so that we could go through it perhaps for our next council meeting and make some changes. But at this time, if there's any comments or questions on this item from the council, we'll take them now.
Yeah.
Councilman Hamud?
So I think right now we're looking still at what looks like kind of the original copy, because there were some discussions we had in the committee of the whole where we requested some modifications, but I don't see them in the current copy that's in front of us. It's like to section 5-1337 in regards to multiple signs by a tenant as opposed to the owner of a building. So I think either we can have the director speak on that, or.
Well, let me see, which one are you talking about, Councilman, page 4?
Yeah, I don't see, page 6.
Okay, page 6, so, I don't believe,
So we were.
yeah,
so-
what letter? Because it's up to us to determine what we want to do, and I know that we did speak on this.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Romer is here as our corporation counsel, so which item are you saying is in contradiction of
It would be
what's from the count?
section 5-1337, and then subsection B under permanent signs, and then.
B,
bullet-
like, B you said?
Yeah, B, permanent signs, and then it'll be 3 under tenant signs, and then it will be sub-bullet I, or 1. It's not in our, I don't know that it's in our backup, I'm looking at the actual ordinance, the full ordinance.
You're not
So
looking at, yeah, but we were instructed, they gave us this part with the red out, you don't have that?
I have the red out, but the problem is because it was not modified
Right.
before we went to the meeting, it's not in the
Okay.
backup here.
So,
It's
Mr.
actually
Romer?
it's addressed in the supplemental.
Yeah.
So one of the recommendations is on here, and it says up to 1 wall sign per tenant. But I think we heard verbally from the director a little bit differently, so I think if he's willing to come up and talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that, I just, yeah, go ahead, Mr. Torti.
To the councilman's point, I do just want to clarify, in the supplemental that I
Director
prepared
Torrey.
for all of you, I did,
Introduce yourself.
Director.
I
yeah,
apologize,
you
sorry.
can introduce yourself.
Director Jordan Torrey, Economic Development Department, City of Dearborn, apologies. To the point that the councilman was making, I do just want to clarify. What we discussed verbally at the COW was what I intended to put. That was just a typo on my part. I apologize in getting that to you. So the notion was, 1 wall sign per tenant per elevation of the building. That was the general gist of the recommendation we're putting together. And just to say, our understanding of that was we would compile those ideas for your consideration, not necessarily bake them into the draft that was before you on the initial item, because that item reflected the contents of the original study session that was had. So that was why those items did not end up in this markup, to just clarify that too.
Councilman?
Yeah, so do we want to modify it now, or do we want to have a study session on it?
Well, the study session will determine after. I think right now, I think that Mr. Torti's main point was really well-received as far as buildings that are 2 or 3 stories. That is not permitted right now. So if you happen to get in on the ground floor, the guy on the second floor can't put a sign, which made no sense. So I think that we should make that amendment, and I'd like to do is review Mr. Torti's, since we have 2 readings. That's why I asked for everyone to have this copy, have time to review it, and if we feel that we would like to table it at the next meeting, we could do that if we don't come to a conclusion, and we could then prepare a study session. But for me, I think that they have made a lot of changes that we asked for from our meeting in December, but I do think there's some tweaking. So I'm gonna leave it up to the council once we get closer, but Mr. Torti did provide us per our request, and I really appreciate that, what they did in the city where he came from as well. So I think what we should do is go over it and make email comments to our city attorney, which will bring us a draft forward, and then we can review it for the final reading.
So I would propose now to amend it to 1 wall sign, let's see, allow maximum 50%. 1 wall sign per tenant, let's see, at least per elevation.
Can you
Okay.
provide the section you're in one more time, just so I,
So it's section 5-1337, and then there's, it starts out with applicability as A, and then B is permanent signs. So B, and then under wall signs, which is a parentheses 1, it goes into, let's see, tenant signs, which is actually it's A first, which is flush mounted wall signs, and then 3 is tenant signs. And then sub-bullet,
I'm not seeing where you're located.
Okay, well,
Alright.
I think what we should do, this is what I wanted to do, that's why I provided us, let's do that. So Councilman, all the council members have what Mr. Torti has presented. I understand where you're coming from as far as the elevation, I think that was the most simplest, I understand that. But what I'd like to do is, we will email the city attorney, who's our attorney, to draft this and change it, and then we'll look at it. We do have 2 weeks, and we'll go from at that point. But
Okay.
it has to do, we'll send it to you, Jeremy, it has to do with the elevation and limiting the signs not only to one per side, but per tenant, depending on multiple layers, so. And among other things we're gonna look at as well, but remember, this ordinance has been a problem from day one. I think under the mayor's direction, they halted the enforcement on it because it had some constitutional issues on its face. And as we discussed, the only people that were charged the permit fees were people that were running for public office. I didn't want to really get into this, but the commercial district that was supposed to pay a permit fee never paid a permit fee. Not one person paid a permit fee in 6 years. So I'm glad that we brought this forward and we put a halt to these fees until we find out what's really going on. You can't charge one person different than another person, and that's what was happening, not under your direction. So for me, this ordinance cleans up a lot of that, but I do think we should read through it, and if we decide to table it, we can do it at that time and conduct a study session. But at this time, I don't think we should do it on the floor, but I appreciate your comments. And everybody received a copy of this on their desk today, and we'll make sure it gets emailed to Jackie. Thank you, Director. Thank you. Any other comments or questions on the sign ordinance?
I have a question, Council President.
Yes, absolutely, Councilman.
For the accent signs that we're removing, just, is that related to the LED lighting that goes around the window frames that we see sometimes? Or is there anything related to that in this change?
Okay, Councilman, let's see if we can get you that answer. Jeremy, are you best, or Jordan?
Either of us can do it. I would just, it's easier for me to reference with the location in what you're looking at, Councilman. So can you direct me to the provision you're looking at?
Yeah, it's 5-1335, it says sign and accent lighting. Accent lighting, LED lights, or what is that referring to?
Okay. Yeah, it would include that type of lighting. That's correct.
Okay, so just to be clear, now businesses can put that lighting on if this change is approved or not?
Accent is removed.
But sign lighting shall not create glare. The way it's written is no lighting that creates a glare excessively can be used. So if any lighting that you're using around the window, including accent lighting or any sort of trim lighting, if it creates a glare or imposes basically a public health threat to anybody driving, it cannot be used.
And if I could elaborate on that, do you see the paragraph above that had accent lighting? So we didn't find the distinction between the two to be all that helpful. So to the mayor's point, what we did is we eliminated the term accent and just regulated it through signs in general. So any sign that would pose that issue is not permitted.
Got it. Okay, so we're just clearing up the language, and in conclusion, you cannot have LED lighting.
Yeah,
If
and
it
if you,
creates-
yeah, and again, I'll direct you to the paragraph above in the definition that we eliminated that distinction.
Okay, and then I see the director, Torty, is up there. What's your thoughts on that? Because I know some businesses were calling, saying there's some enforcement on that. Some businesses are not being enforced. Is that something you want to see enforced?
Councilmember, good question.
If I may,
Sure, Mayor, go
that's
ahead.
not for my director to determine if he wants to be enforced or not. You as a council have the ordinance before you, so they're enforcing what is law. It's not to ask what his opinion is. Doesn't matter what his opinion is, respectfully. It's the opinion of the council determining if they want the ordinance or not.
Right.
And so I just want to be very clear about that. I
No,
just don't think it's a.
No, Mayor, I appreciate that. Councilman Al-Sawafi, I know where you're going with this, I think, and I agree with you. I'll just say it, I disagree, and we had this issue before, and I appreciate the administration trying to bring up and the city attorney by eliminating accent lighting, but that's not gonna solve the issue. If somebody has a LED light that says open, that's gonna be a violation because it protrudes out. So that's up to this body, and I appreciate the mayor indicating that. It is up to us. I don't agree with that. I think there should be a limit. We have limits in our other lighting ordinances that we can couple with this that will say if it protrudes into the street or not. But Councilman, I agree with you, because if, right now, if we pass it as written and there's just a light highlighting the outside of the window, it would be a violation. And we're not going through that. But there's also people that have streams of lights all the way down that is going all the way out onto Ford Road. So we're gonna have to find a medium in there. I'm not sure where you're at on it, but we will visit that, Councilman, because right now, striking the accent lighting was trying to correct it. I don't think it's correcting it fully, and that's our job to go forward. Did you have a comment on that, Councilman?
No, that's exactly right. I appreciate you highlighting that. That was exactly my, I appreciate it.
I agree with you, and we don't want to leave things ambiguous, because then they pick and choose who to enforce it on, and that's not that's our role. So, Councilman Abraham?
Yeah, thank you, Council President. I was going along that same line. I think we need to be very specific for the common types of lighting that are in place today and make a determination using the accent LED commercial window lighting that faces outward towards the street. I think it has to be crystal clear. I mean, if we don't know and we're asking these questions today, I can tell you the number one question from business owners, is it yes or no? They don't want a dissertation on what the ordinance says and how it was written. They want to know specifically the standard lighting that's available in commercial properties, whether it's allowable or not. And there's a lot of it in place. So if we're going to say none of it's allowed, you got tens of thousands of dollars of lights that you're going to have to go through the business district and tell people they have to remove all of it.
Correct.
And if that's the intent, then I guess I need to know that, because I have to decide how to vote.
No, I agree with you. And this is first reading, Councilman Abraham. And just to remind everybody, the current ordinance was determined by our city attorney in the past that indicated, because there was confusion. And then it was cleared up that the accent lighting on the outside of the window, as long as it was shielded, so the light didn't protrude outwards, it was okay. But I agree with Councilman Abraham. I think that's is not gonna work. We have to have a better definition. So more than likely, as this is first reading, we're more than likely gonna have to have a study session and go forward. But we do appreciate your expertise on what was done in other cities to help us out. As for example, the multi-tiered business and signage is very important. And the permit fee, I mean, like I said, I've been against it from day one. There was no way to enforce it. It was never enforced, it was never collected. And we don't want to do that. We want to have ordinances that people can plainly see, understand, and follow. So what we'll do is we'll take back your comments, and we'll probably, most likely, we'll have to have a study session and schedule hopefully before the next council meeting, because we do want to move this lighting forward. So my colleagues understand, and some do from the readings from our corporation council, the current ordinance is at a pause, and the current ordinances has subject matter in there that has been deemed to be unconstitutional in other areas after new case law. So we have to make sure that we clean it up. And that's why it was being brought forward sooner than later. But we appreciate that. Thank you, Director. Thank you, Mayor. Any other comments or questions on the sign ordinance? All right. All right. Anyone from the public? Okay, Mr. Clerk, can we have the first reading of this?
This is the first reading of ordinance number 23-1785, entitled an ordinance to amend the building and building regulations chapter 5 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Dearborn by amending section 5-1333, 5-1335, 5-1336, 5-1337, and 5-1339 of Article 12, entitled Signs. Resolution by Councilmembers Hamud and Paris to table the ordinance.
And a unanimous roll will be attached at table to ordinance. Any objections? Hearing none, so is attached. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Item 11, I think we have a change.
Yeah, Mr. Clerk, this ordinance was introduced by myself in anticipation that Councilman El Swafi would be able to attend tonight, since he was the drafter of this ordinance. So I would like to remove myself from the introduction and place it squarely in Councilman El Swafi, who did draft this.
All right, item number 11, ordinance number 23-1786, introduced by Councilmember El Sawafi. Synopsis, an ordinance to amend the nuisance chapter 13 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Dearborn by amending Article 2, Section 13-46, entitled Exemptions.
Okay, the city controls noise as an ordinance through Chapter 13 of the Code of Ordinances and regulates maximum noise levels depending on commercial, industrial, or residential, and also the time of day that the noise occurs. This item is to amend and add an exception to section 13-46 that specifically exempts the use of sound amplifiers or other similar devices in conjunction with places of religious worship while being used for religious purposes or in conjunction with religious services. And this is the first of 2 readings. Any questions or comments on this item? Anyone from the public here to speak on it? Okay. Mr. Clerk, can we have the first reading, please?
This is the first reading of ordinance number 23-1786, entitled An Ordinance to Amend the Nuisance Chapter, Chapter 13 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Dearborn by amending Article 2, Section 13-46, entitled Exemptions, resolution by council members Hamud and Enos to table the ordinance.
Okay, an unanimous roll be taxed unless hearing any objection. Hearing none, so is attached. Next item, please.
Item 12, resolution by council members Paris and Enos awarding a contract to Great Lakes Composite in the amount of $51,300 for a set of 10 paddle boats for Camp Dearborn and requesting immediate effect.
Okay, this item is recommended to be purchased, a set of 10 paddle boats from Great Lakes Composite of Owasso, Michigan for Camp Dearborn. The value of the purchase is $51,300 for 6 animal-themed boats. There's one right there on your screen for you guys. And a duck.
They got it.
Good. Along with 4 additional standard paddle boats. For the last years, Camp Dearborn has utilized a third-party vendor for providing kayak and paddle boat rentals. This year, it has been determined by input from the campers as well as administration and the advisory board that 10 commercial-grade paddle boats would be purchased for the use. The paddle boats will rent for $10 for 55 minutes. It's a pretty good deal there. And will be managed by utilizing Camp Dearborn personnel. It's estimated that the return on investment will take approximately 3 to 4 years, and immediate effect is being requested so that we have delivery for this season. Any questions or comments on this item?
I was just gonna say, Council President,
Mayor?
for $20 an hour, the mayor actually paddles it for you.
Oh, all right. That's not bad.
It's a great deal.
55 minutes, if you've ever been on it, is a
I'll
long
take the
time.
first 50 hours.
55 minutes is a long time. Councilwoman Herrick.
Thank you, Council President. This is a really exciting, nice investment for Camp Dearborn because the old paddle boats were in sad shape, to say the least. And the animal theme one, the one that we saw on the screen was a traditional one. I think they did. I didn't look up quickly enough to see if an animal themed one was shown. They're adorable.
Yeah.
They're adorable. I do have just a quick question. Not that I'm opposed to the $10 an hour, but I'm wondering how we came up with $10 an hour for the rentals. Is that comparable to other rental of equipment at other recreational facilities? Because it is a super good deal, and I'm glad to give that to our residents. But in taking 4 years to recoup the cost, I'm just wondering how we came up with $10.
So Jamie Timoney, camp manager, Camp Dearborn, we came up with that meeting with the Camp Advisory Board, and we discussed it. We thought it was fair, based on the third party that was out there as well. We thought that we knew we couldn't do this for free, and we did want to recoup the expense, so that was the idea behind it. And when we discussed it with the group, everybody felt $10 was reasonable.
Was there, I'm trying to remember if there was always a charge for the paddle boats before, or if you had a voucher for use if you had a tent out there?
I think it's gone back and forth in the past. There were times I think that it was free. You had to sign up, put your name on a list, you could come and do it. Wristbands have been used in the past. So I think it's been, over time, it's changed back and forth.
I appreciate that we have the input from the advisory committee, which is made up of residents who are familiar with our recreational facilities. So I'm glad that they were able to come up with a fee that they thought was reasonable and affordable to people who are out at Camp Dearborn.
If I may add to the Council President.
Yes, ma'am.
The goal of the paddle boats is not to be a moneymaker. That's not what you get for 10 paddle boats. I think the goal is to provide an amenity, provide a leisure activity to those goers of Camp Dearborn that's fairly inexpensive, and recouping in 3 to 4 years means that as this equipment gets damaged with time, we'll be able to use those dollars to then reinvest and purchase new equipment in a timely manner. I mean, I think that's the goal, for this activity that we're offering at Camp Dearborn. There are some activities where you're in it because you think it's a main revenue stream. For these paddle boats, short of me paddling everybody around Camp Dearborn all summer, I don't think you're gonna make much money. So I think that was the intent.
I think the challenge with it being as affordable as it is we're gonna have people lining up and they're not gonna be available to folks because they're gonna wanna use them all day because they're so cute, so, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, thank you. I'm sorry, Director, 1 second. Mr. Timony, 1 second. Councilman Abraham?
Just a follow-up question, more on the purchasing side. So I see the backup, and we're obviously going with a more preferred product with a better delivery time. My concern is with the supply of products the way they are. Is there any penalty or incentive if the awarded vendor does not deliver on time? Because that's a big component, is delivery for opening of the camp season, and we're paying a premium for premium products and on-time delivery. And what are we gonna do? I mean, we're foregoing the lowest bidder to pay a premium for premium product and delivery on time and not wait 10 weeks. I'm just a little concerned that if the delivery time is missed, what recourse do we have? And maybe that's
Mark,
purchasing,
yeah.
sorry.
Good evening, Council. Mark Kaczynski, Purchasing Manager. I'm not aware of any penalty, unfortunately, for late delivery on these. But we can, ultimately, I would imagine we can cancel the order at that time, but we may not want to do that depending on.
Is it possible, Mark, for us to stick in language with the vendor that if we do not receive within the time that they say they're going to deliver, that there's a penalty that they pay, or a deduction of what we pay?
I believe we could look into some language to put in there, yes.
I'd like the councilman, did you get your answer? Because I agree with you, and the city attorney's fully aware of time of the essence clauses and legal aspect to it. It really should have been, Mr. Rosinski, for the future.
Sure.
I assume that you work with legal on these when you put these bids out, because I'm not in favor of awarding a bid, then going back and then changing the parameters.
Absolutely, correct.
You know, that's
Understood.
not what I'm about, right? But I do understand that they weren't the lowest bidder, but I think there might be a discussion, but I think the Councilman Abraham is dead on point. Going forward, Mr. Rosinski, the purchasing department, when there is a time frame stated, there should be a clause where there is a penalty or a reduction if they do not deliver. That's standard business practice.
I'll look into something to put in maybe the standard terms and conditions that we can put on all solicitations.
Yeah, we can work with you on that provision.
That'd be great. Yeah, so they'll be in all of the solicitations. Cool.
Director, thank you very much, appreciate it. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, if you both can say sorry. Councilman Paris, I apologize. Councilman Paris?
Sure that I'm gonna get the definitive answer that it's already been in play before. When we had paddle boats before, are we still going to have the same safety precautions that who would be able to use it, not just the duration of time, the 55 minutes? Are life jackets required? Is there safety measures that need to be put in place?
Yeah, the life jackets are gonna be required, and I believe we have to have the state come in and they have to essentially give us a license to operate that because we have passengers going on these boats.
And will this have any impact at all for our insurance, out at camp?
It's
Or the
possible.
liability insurance at all? Or would it have to be included?
This activity doesn't trigger anything from the insurance side, but obviously, as claims are made, that has it. But this activity on its own, no significance.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the colleagues? All right, any other questions from members of the public? All right. At this time, hearing, seeing no objection, unanimous will be attached. Next item, please.
Item 13, resolution by council members Smoot and Enos authorizing a cooperative contract purchase through the state of Michigan My Deal Cooperative Program from CDW Government in the amount of $285,363 for cybersecurity and network infrastructure upgrade equipment.
Okay, the IT department is requesting this new network core and building edge switches to serve as a backbone for the city's digital transformation to providing our staff with fast, secure, and reliable connectivity required for effectively leveraging both cloud and on-premises solutions. The city's existing hardware is in an end-of-life state and is being replaced. Everything now is being used as a network layer or infrastructure to support our city's new technology initiatives. This upgrade will be implemented in two phases. Phase 1 will be the administrative building, police department, the court, and our rec center, and phase 2, the DPW, fire station, and the remaining smaller sites. This is a one-time purchase in the amount of $285,363 through the Michigan My Deal Cooperative Program, and they are requesting immediate effect. Any questions or comments on this upgrade?
I think just the one comment
Mayor?
we have is, I think it's utilizing the grant that we secured from the state of Michigan for $2.5 million for cybersecurity upgrades.
Yes, correct. I do appreciate that, Mayor. That is,
I know it's coming up later in the agenda.
yes, that's right. It is coming up before this, but after this, but you're right. So this is a grant funded and is not from our taxpayers. Thank you, Mayor, for that. Any other questions or comments on this item? Hearing and seeing none, unanimous will be attached. Next item, please.
Item 14, resolution by Councilmembers Smoot and Enos authorizing a competitive contract purchase from Mustang Fence Company, lowest responsive and responsible bid, in the amount not to exceed $164,432 for Level Good Park baseball field fencing and installation services. Also authorizing the finance director to establish and cancel revenue and corresponding expenditure budgets and requesting immediate effect.
Okay, through numerous discussions with Divine Child High School and members of the community and our Parks Recreation Department had identified the need to add warning tracks and outfield fencing at Level Good Diamonds 1, 2, and 3. Purchasing on behalf of the Department of Parks and Recreation recommends the competitive purchase and installation of services for the 3 fields from Mustang Fence Company. It's also requested the finance director be authorized to cancel and establish revenue and corresponding expenditure budgets in the amount of $164,432 in the General Capital Improvement Fund, Project I-29624, and to cancel revenue corresponding expenditure budgets in the same account in the Facility Fund, Project ARP-A25. And again, this is requesting immediate effect. Any questions or comments on this item?
I think, thank
Mayor?
you, Council President, if I may.
Yes, of course.
You know, so Divine Child approached us a few months ago, speaking to the fact that they might move their baseball team outside the city of Dearborn. And it's a D1 baseball team, for those who don't know, state champions in the past, fairly strong competitive team. And we did not want that to happen. So we explored the idea of making Diamonds 1, 2, and 3 at Levagood, bringing them up to par so that's a facility that they can use. And the arrangement that we struck was, as we make our parks announcement in the coming week, we can utilize some of those dollars to really build up our ball fields at Levagood. Divine Child will largely use 2 of the 3, and you know, amongst the 3, we're looking at $300,000 in cost. So 2 of the diamonds, roughly $200,000 in cost, of which Divine Child will recover 50% to the city of Dearborn, which I think is a phenomenal deal. And during the months of play, while they will be responsible for maintaining those ball diamonds. I think that's a phenomenal deal. It gets us to provide a public amenity at a discounted price, as well as ensuring that, you know, Divine Child, which is a well-established institution in the city of Dearborn, keeps their baseball team here, right across the street from their school. And so we just thought it was all in all a great deal for the city.
Absolutely, Mayor. I do appreciate it. I know we've talked about this in depth in the past. I know that in the last council, we also worked with them on their new football field. And, you know, of course, an institution like the Divine Child and the high school, I think is a great partnership. This is what the city should be doing to maintain these institutions, so we do appreciate that. Councilman Paris?
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to ask the mayor then, since you just made mention of that, 50% of the $200,000 costs. I just don't see it listed in here. So Divine Child is coming up with $100,000 for part of this project.
Correct, Councilman. We're working on the contract language. Because the baseball season begins in end of March-ish, 2 weeks. We're trying to get the fencing and everything going as we're working our way through with the contractual language. But yes, they have committed to 50% of the $200,000.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. That's why it's not in front of us at this time, but that's a good point.
That contract will eventually.
No, we understand, absolutely, Mayor. We do know we take their on their word, and that once you get it done, I'm sure it'll be back in front of the council. Appreciate it. Any other questions or comments on this item? Councilwoman Herrick?
Thank you. I know this is a wonderful upgrade for the baseball diamonds, and it's great that Divine Child will be helping foot the bill with the costs that they pay. Do we have enough time in the baseball schedule that we could possibly have increased business of other teams coming in to use these fields now that it's bringing Dearborn to be more competitive with the quality of our fields?
To Councilwoman Herrick's question,
Mayor?
the short answer is yes. We're going to be going through and obviously updating many of our parks, which the announcement is coming soon. And a part of that will be laser grading as well as some of the fencing and lighting across our baseball diamonds across the city, of which we think we can then attract some of the revenue streams for softball teams or baseball leagues that occur throughout.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. All right, any other questions or comments on this item? Hearing and seeing none, unanimous, roll be attached. Next item, please.
Item 15, resolution by council members Enos and Hamud, authorizing a competitive contract purchase from Dura Edge Products, Inc., lowest responsive and responsible bid, in an amount not to exceed $292,875 for baseball diamond infield renovations services. Also authorizing the finance director to establish and cancel revenue and corresponding expenditure budgets and requesting immediate effect.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. After many years of heavy usage and practice from leagues and tournament play, the Dearborn Recs and Parks Department has identified 10 baseball infields throughout the city that are in need of immediate refurbishment and revitalization. Purchasing on behalf of the Parks and Recreation Department is recommending a competitive purchase with baseball diamond services for the 10 diamond fields for Dura Edge Products Incorporated. It is also being requested that the finance director be authorized to establish a revenue and corresponding expenditures and budgets in the amount of $292,875 in the General Capital Improvement Fund, Project I-28900 and I-29624, and to cancel revenue and corresponding expenditures in the same account in the facility project, ARPA 25. The laser grading project will take place at Level Good Diamond 1, 2, and 3, Ford Woods Diamond 1 and 2, King Boring Field, as well as Crowley Penn Vassar, and 10 Ike Diamonds 1 and 2. So we do appreciate it. It's well overdue, so I know it's going to be a nice improvement to the fields.
And if I may,
And again,
Council
immediate effect is being requested. Any other comments or questions?
I was going to say to the
Mayor?
Councilwoman's previous question, these are the 10, these are 10 fields that we're going to laser grade this year and hopefully improve the services that we're offering. So Dearborn Baseball, to all the children's softball leagues, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and Dearborn Baseball has been, they're very active, very large program, so. Yeah, so we know that they will definitely appreciate it. And again, Mr. Clerk, immediate effect is being requested. Any other questions or comments on this item? Councilman Hamud.
So, and I appreciate this item, and I appreciate all the investment we're doing in our local parks. I just still do have a question as far as, are we planning on like a long-term plan in terms of park upgrades and refurbishments, or are we gonna always do them piecemeal? Because I mean, we are spending $500,000 on baseball diamonds in just this meeting, but I've always kind of wondered last year and then kind of going forward to next year and the year after, is there going to be a cohesive kind of assessment of where all of our parks are at, and then figure out which ones we're going to refurbish, which ones are going to be later on, and how that kind of plays into things like baseball leagues or soccer leagues and things like that?
To the Councilman's question, I think, the short answer is yes. We'd love to have a master plan that assesses basically where everything is across our parks. Some of the information that we have right now are kind of more base level, like how old is this play swing at every park across the city, so on and so forth. I know we had the park rangers this last summer kind of assessing garbage can, benches, things of that nature across every single park. But what you'll find is that there's a pent-up demand for updating a lot of the infrastructure across our city's parks because of years of not being able to make the capital improvements. And so I think you're aware of the major investment we're going to announce next week. And so I think that really brings us up to speed. And then our hope is then coming up with a cadence of annually how we're able to allocate and make the park investments to sustain the quality of our parks in the long run.
Yeah, sounds good.
My follow-up on that would be, so is there going to be a plan presented that is cohesive, or is there, or is there not? I guess that's you didn't, to be honest.
Yeah, I said the short answer was yes. And so our
Okay.
hope is to formulate a plan. It's not easy. We have, over 50 parks, roughly 50 parks across the city, if you include in the pocket parks and the corner parks and the major parks. And so it's quite an undertaking. Go ahead.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, go ahead.
Council President, members of council, John Kavolich, Assistant Director, Parks and Rec. As a part of this contract with Dura Edge, one of the big things that they're going to be doing is training our staff on how to properly maintain these fields when they do the work. They're going to give us a 3-year maintenance plan along with this for all of our fields. And yes, to answer your question, Director Fletcher and the admin team at Parks and Rec are planning to have a full parks maintenance plan that we're hoping to have sometime this year.
Okay, so before the end of this year, we'll have a assessment of the parks? Does the mayor agree with that?
The goal is this year.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, for me, I think, I understand where the mayor's coming from, and Director Golish, when was the last time we did the fields?
I mean, you know, I'm a lifelong Dearborn resident, Dearborn
Right.
baseball, softball, I don't remember this being done. I
Right.
mean, they're gonna rip
So,
everything out.
Right. I think the issue is, and Councilman Hamud, I think you're dead on as far as, I do agree with planning and strategic investment and making sure we're spending in the right area. But I do also see that the need is so bad that you don't need an assessment to see that, you know, these things are that bad. And they decided to make that move at this time. But I do agree with you, and I'm sure we'll get that. I know we're working on a master plan as well. But I do think that some things that haven't been done in 20 years, that should be done every 5 or 10 years, I mean, they need to get done. And with the capital improvement that we have at this time, I think it's the right thing to do. So I do appreciate that.
Appreciate you all.
All right. Any other questions or comments on the baseball fields? All right. Hearing and seeing none, unanimous roll be attached. Next item, please.
Item 16, resolution by council members Paris and Enos awarding a sole source contract to Tenter in the amount of $85,000 for 10 Tenter tents to include site preparation, install, and accessories for Camp Dearborn. Also authorizing an additional $7,500 for any site preparations that need to be completed by camp staff or contractors.
Okay, purchasing on behalf of Parks and Recreation Department recommends a sole source purchase of campsite equipment from services from Tenter. This is for 10 Tenter tents, which we have displayed on the screen there. There you go. To include self-preparation, install, and accessories. The canvas tents were removed from Camp Dearborn in early 2022. The tents were a popular option for Camp Dearborn for many years, and the Parks and Recs Department continues to receive input from residents and non-resident campers that would desire tent camping. Camp Dearborn will be piloting this 10 Tenter tents for 2023 to determine if it meets the needs of our guests. The tents will be located on J Row adjacent from the pool, which will provide close access to the restroom. The tents will rent from $99 to $119 per night with an anticipated return on investment within 2 years. The Tenter rates are determined by Camp Dearborn with a 20% revenue to be retained by Tenter and 80% by the city. Tenter also includes accessories such as chairs, benches, pop-up tent, water containers, bed frames, mattresses, and other camping items. The additional $7,500 requested is to allocate for site preparation that needs to be completed by Camp Dearborn staff prior for Tenter to begin their work at camp. And Tenter is responsible for fully maintaining these tents and all accessories to the highest standards possible. At the 3-year period, Tenter will do a visual inspection to check the items, and if they are deemed to need to be replaced, they will be replaced at no charge to our taxpayers and at the expense of Tenter. The amount requested is $92,500. This amount is funded by an MEDC grant. Any questions or comments on this item?
If I may, Council President?
Yes, Mayor.
So I think what hopefully people are seeing is the investment back into what made Dearborn beautiful, which was Camp Dearborn and our parks. In specific, we know that we had to take down the green canvas tents, which were beloved by all. We heard the feedback. And the reason was, you know, the green canvas and the wood for those tents were purchased, you know, over 50, 60 years ago. And people were emailing us saying they took their drill set when they come up with their camping and they would fix the tents while they stayed in there, which is, thank you so much.
It is true.
You know, our attorney sitting next to me, that's also not something that we can, not a risk that we wanted to assume. The Tenter tents are beautiful for a few things. One, they're beautiful tents. It gives you that same feel. But secondly, Tenter, the company provides you all the amenities. Additionally, they take 20% of revenues, but anything that happens to the tent, they will replace. And so we're no longer on the hook to try to generate this revenue for replacement in time. And so we have we don't set up the tents, we don't take them down during the winter season. Anything that gets damaged, anything that gets destroyed, Tenter comes out, they have 100% responsibility. And so that's why you have the 80-20 revenue share. So I think it's a phenomenal deal. We're piloting with 10 because we're also going through a whole master planning at Camp Dearborn to make sure that we're sustainable there. Hopefully Councilman Hamud appreciates that. So once we have the full master plan at Camp Dearborn, we'll then determine the various amenities that we can offer all throughout those parcels.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilwoman Herrick.
Thank you, Council President. Perhaps I missed seeing it in the backup. What are the dimensions of the tent? How many people can it accommodate? Or how, if we compare it to the old canvas tents, how big is it in relation to that?
You want the director? I don't know if he has, who has that
You have that,
information?
Jamie? I don't have the exact dimensions. I would say based on image, it looks slightly larger. It's not the same size.
So the, Jamie Timoney, camp manager, I want to say about 25 feet, and it's sitting on a wood deck platform. I think we have the picture up.
Yeah, the picture's up.
2 to 4 people, but that price that is part of this includes a floor kit and also the wood stove, which adds to the price. The family that comes out has a kit with an additional tent that can be set up on the site. And I don't know how much detail we went into this prior, but the sites are gonna have greater distance between them. So kids will have the ability, young kids can set up a smaller tent on the site. So you're still looking at that 4 to 6 range of people per site.
So the second tent wouldn't be on a platform, it'd be apart from the main tent?
They have the ability to be inside the platform as well,
Oh,
but
okay.
they could be outside also.
The platform's big enough to accommodate it then?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, I do appreciate it. And Mayor, I do agree with you. There was many, many calls for the green tents, people asking to get relic parts of them to take home. And I can tell you, on the last council, some of my colleagues were here. We had the previous administration bring through a really nice proposal for some fiberglass type of tent that was extremely costly, and the council decided not to go with it. This, I think, is the closest we're gonna get to doing and setting up ourselves. I do agree with the mayor as far as maintenance and maintaining them, that they will go through with them. And this is a pilot program, so if there's any issues, I'm sure we will be aware of it. But I think this is a great addition to camp, and I know that they're gonna sell out. I know we have our regular cabins as well that are renting at 80–85% all the time. So I look forward to this, and I think it gives the element that we used to have without having the fiberglass cost that I don't think really gives you the tent feel. So I hopefully that this will be very successful. So appreciate all the efforts on this. Any other questions or comments on this item? Councilman Paris.
Just to bring up and make sure that I'm correct then, so the reservation system for this is 2 different ways. I think that was explained during the committee of the whole, is through Tenter or it's through the new city reservation system.
Correct,
And that
Councilman.
reservation system is now available, has been for a little while.
Yeah, our reservation system launched in February, CampSpot, and so the tents will be available to be rented out through CampSpot or through Tenter's main site, and you can select the Camp Dearborn location and also reserve through that outlet. So if there are folks who just like to camp in Tenter tents because they're a known commodity, then they draw the traction to their website, and people can select different sites. But if you know Camp Dearborn, you can come through CampSpot and reserve.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Councilman Pierce, for bringing that forward as well. Any other questions or comments on this item? Okay, hearing and seeing none, a unanimous roll will be attached. Next item, please.
Item 17, resolution by council members Paris and Enos, authorizing the finance director to establish project I-20923, Camp Dearborn MEDC grant, and to recognize state grant funds in the amount of $2 million for Camp Dearborn infrastructure upgrades and appropriate the same in designated funds. Also authorizing the mayor to sign and execute grant documents and requesting immediate effect.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. Okay, and this is Public Act 166 of 22 that appropriated $2 million to the City of Dearborn Parks and Recreation Department for infrastructure upgrades to Camp Dearborn. This grant is being provided through the Michigan MEDC Corporation and is available through December 31st of 2026. The proposed use of the funds will go forward as detailed. Tenor tents, $92,500. Blighted trailer removal of $120,000. Broadband and wireless upgrades of $200,000. Electrical infrastructure and upgrades of $300,000. Asphalt work, including basketball and tennis courts, repairs of $400,000. Biking and hiking trails of $400,000, and the repairs to the much-needed canteen and comfort station of $487,500. It is requested that the City Council authorize the Finance Director to establish project I-20923 Camp Dearborn MEDC grant and to recognize appropriation of $2 million from the state grant funds received. It's also being requested that the finance director be authorized to complete any necessary transactions to receive the revenue, and immediate request is being asked as well. Any other questions or comments on this item? This is what the mayor was referring to before. This is the $2 million grants. Hopefully, this puts to bed to the people asking about Camp Dearborn, where we're going with it. It's been a long time coming. This is a good jolt, as I read through here, of a lot of improvements. Some of those things out there have been touched in 25, 30 years. So it's not going anywhere, folks. We're trying to keep it and run it. So hopefully you will see the improvements this year.
And it's the
Mayor?
75th anniversary this year,
Yeah.
so look out for exciting news to come in the next
Videos?
months. No videos.
No video? Okay.
But just as it pertains to some things that you might have missed at Camp Dearborn as well. I'll leave it there.
I appreciate it. I think people will really enjoy this, to see the revitalization of Camp Dearborn. People have questioned in the past, you know, what is Camp Dearborn's long-term plan? And I think this jolt of $2 million will make a big impact. And it shows the residents that we're intending to keep our parks and maintain them and give them the services that they grew up in Dearborn having. So appreciate that, Mayor. Any other questions or comments? Councilman Hamud?
I think it's important also that we thank our past and current legislators for ensuring that this money got to us, and the state of Michigan and the MEDC for continuing to invest in our parks. And, you know, I think this is great because it shows again how making sure that we play our cards right at the state level ensures that residents here get the best services that we can for the most tax dollars that they are paying. I would remind everybody to the state anyway, so we're just getting our money back. So thank you very much to the state of Michigan and our legislators.
All right. Any other comments, questions on this one? All right, here and seeing none, unanimous roll will be attached. Next item, please.
Item 18, resolution by council members Paris and Enos approving the addition of 16 part-time personnel slots for the remainder of the fiscal year 2023 for the Dearborn Hills Golf Course. Also authorizing the finance director to make the requested changes to the fiscal year 2023 personnel position count for Dearborn Hills Golf Course and requesting immediate effect.
Okay, at the regular scheduled city council meeting on February 7th of 2023, the council resolution 2-6823 was adopted in recognition and appropriation of a new budget to reopen and operate Dearborn Hills for the spring of 2023. This request is an additional for personnel slots for part-time and seasonal staff, which is necessary when hiring staff to operate the course, and has no impact on our recently adopted budget for the golf course. The request is for the following 16 personnel slots to be added, approximately 2 1/2 of full-time equivalents for the remainder of 2023 fiscal year, 14 recreational assistants, 1 recreational coordinator, 1 department consultant or bookkeeper. It is being requested that the city council approve the additional for these personnel slots and authorize the finance director to make the requested changes to the fiscal 2023 personnel count for the Dearborn Hills Golf Course with immediate effect is also being requested. Any questions or comments on this item?
Would you like
Mayor? Yeah, if you'd like to
thank you,
speak on it, yeah.
So just to clarify, I know it sounds like a lot of personnel, but it's 2.15 full-time equivalents. And so so nobody thinks we're bringing in 20 people to work Dearborn Hills Golf Course. It's our hope that it's our expectation we'll be opening up Dearborn Hills Golf Course this season. It'll be opened up for as a 9-hole golf course. So the 9 holes that'll be open will be the side opposite of where the banquet center is. We have some major work that will be underway, as well as it pertains to the Rouge River cleanup and such, that will commence later this year, as well as currently out for bid is we're looking for an operator of the banquet hall facility to make it a restaurant/banquet facility. We think that'll be another great revenue stream that can help subsidize the golf course and then bring life back to it. And so we're excited that we're here. I think that the Parks and Rec team is excited that it's here, and I think for a lot of residents, they'll be excited to hear that the golf course is back. It might not be back as you know it, but hopefully with time we'll get there.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, that was a big situation last year with the flooding and the log jams and the situations we had. I know a lot of residents were concerned, and I appreciate the reinvestment and what's going on. And I do look, as far as the facility there, I do think at some point that is a gem. We've had a lot of events there. I know that it is a floodplain, so people understand when it rains, it does flood down on that side. But That's a limitation, but there's also a beautiful facility that can be used for many types of events for our residents and non-residents in the area. So I do appreciate that. Any other questions or comments on this item? Okay, hearing and seeing none, unanimous roll be attached. Next item, please.
Item 19, resolution by council members Paris and Hamud authorizing the city to partner with Access and to sell the vacant lots located at 5127, 5121, 5115, and 5109 Eugene to Access via quitclaim deed for the sum of $1, which Access will use to build transitional supportive housing adjacent to its substance use disorder treatment center. Also authorizing Corporation Council to execute the attached purchase agreement and memo of understanding and authorizing the mayor to execute the quitclaim deed, subject to approval of the legal department and requesting immediate effect.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. Approval is being requested for the city to partner with Access for its new state-of-the-art comprehensive treatment center with an estimated project cost of $18 million. The request for the city is to sell 4 vacant parcels that are joining the land for the new Access Recovery Center project located. The lots are located at 5127 Eugene, 5121 Eugene, 5115 Eugene, and 5109 Eugene for the sum of $1 via quitclaim deed. Access will use the land to build this transitional supportive housing adjacent to the substance use disorder treatment center, and the center will provide affordable treatment options and recovery resources, including treatment, bilingual, and cultural sensitive programming, short-term residential care, food assistance, housing, education, and employment to combat the alarming rise of substance abuse among youth and adults in our community. To support this unique combination of substance abuse recovery and supportive services, the transitional supportive housing, which would typically not be brought to the marketplace without public support, the Economic Development Department recommends that the city partner with Access in selling these 4 adjacent lots. In exchange, Access will incorporate certain streetscape enhancements and share a use pathway along the entire Michigan Avenue frontage of the property. Access will also acknowledge the city of Dearborn as a project partner in all promotional messaging for the project. The closing is to occur within 30 days of the council approval of sale, and Access is to obtain an approval site plan for the substance use disorder treatment center within 1 year from council approval of the sale, and Access is to complete construction of the center and secure a certificate of occupancy within 3 years of council approval of the sale. An immediate effect is being requested. Any questions or comments on this item?
Oh, go on.
Good. Council Mayor, go ahead.
Lena, do you want to come up? I know, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, we wanted you to come up, but I didn't know if you wanted to add something first, or
why don't you start? Then
okay.
Sure. Hi, my name is Lena Harani Harajli. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Access. Thank you so much for having us with you here this evening and for hopefully agreeing to partner with us on this really exciting initiative. This is something that's been in the works for years. As an organization that provides millions of services each year to residents, both in, of course, Dearborn and in the Tri-County area. Our 513 staff have 7 different divisions that they do this incredible work from. And we're hoping that as we embark on this new center, as we looked at models across the country to see what would be the best model for us, we definitely looked at those that were partnerships with city, and the majority of those cities honestly really had the bulk of the capital invested. We instead decided, because of course we had lots of conversations with Mayor Hamud, he has no additional dollars to invest, that Access is going to raise the $18 to $20 million that it will take to build this facility, and we hope that the lots will be available to us to, of course, make this the best center possible. Happy to answer any questions. I know I gave this to you guys last time, but I'm happy to do.
You can just,
I can pass
you can just get it,
it.
we'll pass it down, yeah.
Oh, we have it in our backup.
Yeah.
Yep, we have it.
So happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Haraji. Mayor, would you like to
I was just going to say, Council
expand?
President, I think the unique thing about this parcel was, this parcel was slated to be sold as a trucking site. And we kind of halted that from proceeding forward and taking, 30-some acres as just to pave it as a blacktop and put trucks didn't seem meaningful to the city. And so we're really excited for this opportunity to partner with Access and bring a needed benefit. I think what's also important to note is the police department is currently partnering with Access on a co-sponsor model today, where Access has a social worker embedded into our public safety departments. And I think that's just monumental for the direction that we'd like to go. And to have a center that's within our city boundaries would be extremely beneficial, because hopefully that means there's larger bed allocation to Dearborn residents in need. And so thank you to Access for all you do. We're here to cheer you on. I think the least the city could do is offer up some parcels of land. I might be able to give you city dollars, but I can call whoever you want me to call and see if they'll give you real dollars. So that you
Oh,
also
we're
have
coming
a
for that too, of course.
Yeah.
Plus the paddleball, I heard $20 an hour, I mean, we're.
Yeah. Well, I've seen the list of people that you comprise, so I think you're gonna have a good opportunity to raise money. But in all seriousness, I being on the council for 9 or 10 years, this is exactly what this properties that the city acquires from either tax sale or for other issues is to help make projects like this, be sustainable in the long term. It's just our little contribution to the overall aspect of it. But I think this center, and I know talking to Director Maha Fraser regarding it, I know how passionate she is about this. I know how she kept it on the wraps for years to try to get the funding and see where she was. And I agree with you, these types of things cannot be done by private sectors because they just don't profit. It's not a business model. And in order for you to do something like this, to really give back to the community, you have to have a buy-in from donors. You have to have a buy-in from cities and municipalities. I'm very excited for this. I can't wait to see it. And I know that everything you guys do is first class. And as you know, that video going around that's been going around from 1979, that was with my mom and some people on it when Access Building was written in crayon.
Absolutely.
I think is phenomenal to see where you've come from and what it's done and how many people it's helped. I know many people I send to you guys that need advice and always come out with the right advice. So we really do appreciate the work you do, and I think that this is just the smallest little token that we can do, so we can't wait to see it happen.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from my colleagues? Councilman Hamud?
Yeah, I think one thing we haven't talked about yet also is that this center that will hopefully be built on this site will also have a comprehensive substance use disorder component to it, which is like such an important program, especially now. I think a lot of people know there is a drug use epidemic, and it's getting worse actually, and we're seeing that people are actually going to treatment centers less, which is not what you want to see. It's two inverse things that are not great. So projects like these and organizations like yours are very important to help ensure that we are taking proactive steps to try and address what's going on. And for the taxpayers of the city also, I do actually commend whether it was legal or planning, kind of put in as well some stipulations in the contract as far as streetscape improvements, and I see here also rain gardens and native plantings to alleviate some of the burdens on the rainwater system. So I guess I commend the city itself on the way the contract is written, so good job on that, Jeremy. And I really thank you guys also for coming and having this idea and having this vision, and hopefully our building department doesn't give you too much of a hassle. Jordan Forty's right over there.
Oh, I know his number already.
So, yeah, thank you so much.
That's another meeting. That's a whole nother meeting.
He's been very helpful.
Yeah,
Excellent.
So thank you
Good
so much
answer.
for being willing to build something here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. No pun intended, Director Torti. I know that you're trying to get it going in the right way. All right, any other questions or comments on this item? And I appreciate everybody from Access here. Any other questions or comments on this item? Okay. Any objection to unanimous roll? Hearing none, so it's attached. Next item, please.
Item 20, resolution by Council Member Enos, supported unanimously, offering condolences to the family of John Jack Bridges.
John H. Bridges of Dearborn was born on March 9th, 1940, and passed away peacefully on February 23rd, 2023, at the age of 82. He was loved and cherished by many people, including his spouse Beverly, for 63 beautiful years. He was loving father of Jill, John, Michael, Bradley, and Colleen. He was a dear brother of Robert. He was also a grandfather to 17 grandchildren and proud great-grandfather of 3. Jack graduated from Metzelsburg High School and went on to Notre Dame to further his education, ultimately attending University of Michigan, where he earned his master's degree in education. Jack then returned to his alma mater, Edsel Ford, where he taught 10th grade biology for 40 years. He also coached varsity football for 23 seasons, track for 18 years, and 3 seasons of cross country. Jack was quite the mentor in both academics and athletics in the city of Dearborn. His hard work and dedication awarded him the honor of being inducted into the Michigan High School Football Coaches Association Hall of Fame in 1997, a well-deserved tribute to his many talents throughout his lifetime. Jack was known to approach all aspects of life in the most optimistic way and was very proud of his accomplishments together with his family. His positive attitude, creativity, mentorships, words of wisdom, and welcoming nature about him will be dearly missed by his family, friends, and the community. He was loved, respected, and admired by all who surrounded his life. We offer our most heartfelt sympathy and sincere condolences to the family of Coach Bridges. Rest in peace, Coach.
Thank you, Councilman Enos. And unanimous roll be attached. Next item, please.
Item 21, resolution by Councilmember Abraham, supported unanimously, offering condolences to the family of Leonard Moore.
Leonard Moore, excuse me. Leonard Moore was born in Toronto, Canada on January 14th, 1928, and sadly Leonard passed away on February 3rd of this year at the ripe age of 95. He leaves behind his son Richard, grandchildren Peter, Julian, Justin, and his sister Annette. Leonard had attended Wayne State University and the University of Michigan, graduating with a Master's of Accounting, Master's in Finance, and his Juris Doctorate from University of Michigan in 1952. He was also a proud veteran of the Korean War. He had met his wife Dolores at Greenfield Village in 1956. At that time, she was working as a kindergarten teacher, and 1 year later, they married. They were blessed with 46 years of marriage. Leonard had worked at General Motors, Price Waterhouse, as well as the City of Dearborn legal staff before starting his own law practice with his partner, Raymond Kaczynski. Leonard continued his private practice until the age of 86. He was also extremely involved in our community and participated in many roles and in many community service groups, including the Dearborn Historical Commission, the First United Methodist Church, the Masons, Dearborn Pioneers, the Dearborn YMCA, the Goodfellows, the Dearborn Symphony, the Arts Council, Knights of Columbus, the Exchange Club, and the Exchange Club of Dearborn. He was a member and served on their board for 64 years, including role as president. He was most proud to have helped many people begin their careers as lawyers through his small practice here in Dearborn. He was loved, respected, and admired by almost all that knew him, and our community mourns his loss. His legacy will live in the hearts of all those that were blessed to know Leonard. We give our most heartfelt sympathy and sincere condolences to his friends and family.
Thank you, Councilman Abraham. Unanimous roll be attached. Yes, Councilwoman Herrick.
Thank you. And thank you, Councilmember Abraham, for the lovely condolence message. Mr. Moore was an icon here in Dearborn, and all the organizations that you listed that he participated in, I knew him through several of those, including the Dearborn Symphony. But what I remember him most for was storytelling. He would recall to the minute detail stories about his time serving in the military and how cultural events in the world affected where we are today. And it was always a joy to spend time with him. Most recently, I saw him at an Exchange Club meeting, and even at, as you said, his ripe age, he was young at heart, and when we talk about people living life to the fullest, he's a fine example of that. So
Yeah.
my condolences to Richard and the whole family.
You bring up the Exchange Club. I mean, just to put it in perspective, Leonard was 95 years old, and the week before he passed, he attended the Exchange Club meeting like he did every single week.
It's incredible.
That's amazing commitment to community service.
Without question. Thank you, Councilman Abraham, Councilman Herrick. Unanimous roll be attached. Next item, please.
Nothing further from the clerk's office, thank you.
Okay, so at this time, before we open it with our council members, I just had a couple things I wanted to address. I just wanted to let the residents know, I know that the mayor and the team through our liaison with this power outage that we had recently, I know it was very trying on many people. Some people went 3, 4, 5 days. I know there was a little pocket park near Dearborn High where we received calls in our council office, and I really want to thank the administration and our Robbie Hamoud for getting in contact with DTE. They're not the easiest people to get a hold of, I can tell you that, folks, right now, but I can tell you, I also sent an email out to all my colleagues. As the mayor indicated, there was a team in Dearborn because there was spots that they had thought were on that were not on. And when they would turn on one spot, another one would shut down. So I just want our residents to know that the council was aware of it. We were doing everything we can. And I'd like to thank the administration of working with DTE, especially the liaison, Robbie Hamoud, working with them, where we could immediately get someone to the location to find out what the problem was. And the resident that did call us into the council office, more than likely they would have not found out within another day or two, because as they had indicated, it was on and had been shut off when another area went bad. So I want everybody to understand that anything that happens that you can, it's not an issue to call the council office, and then we can relay it to the proper channels to try to get the resolve. So we do know that was a long time, and a lot of people were affected. The other thing I wanted to speak on, Mayor, and I wanted you to touch on too as well, if you can, was the tax assessments. A lot of people have received their recent tax assessments and have questions with assessed value. A lot of people are putting information out there, which is very good information from our county executive, our county commissioner has put out some information regarding it. And I can tell you, I'd like the mayor to speak on it as well, but I can tell people that when you look at these assessments, you got to understand the difference between what you're going to pay and what your value is. But I think under commitment, I'll let the mayor speak to it, but under commitment of the city now, the biggest complaint residents would have is when they're buying in Dearborn, and I requested this study as a council member last time, the increase for a person buying a house in Dearborn from the person that was living there before was like a 46% increase in the taxes. And we all understand that has to do with Proposal A in the state. But also what happened too is that a lot of residents' houses were not assessed properly for the taxable value, which would not affect their tax bill. But it would let someone look at the bill and say, okay, I know what I'm going to pay roughly in taxes here. So I wanted to make sure that everybody understands that. And the mayor would like you to touch on the aspect of the school aspect and why we're not totally in for the resident right now, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course. So you should have received a notice of assessment. Essentially, a fair assessment is if you double the assessed value, that's essentially what you think you can get for it in the market. That's just to give you a ballpark of when you look at that assessed value. Now, our assessor, Jacob Thurston, new to the city, has a new methodology that he's applied, but he strictly applies it based on the data. And so the total assessed value of a home takes into account the land value, which is basically the parcel of land that your home is constructed on, and then the home itself, the building improvement value. And so you take both of those components together to come up with the true assessed value. And so for other context's sake, is Wayne County also provides the state with a target number that you must hit. And you also have a specified window of time that you can look at sales throughout the city in order to determine these assessed values. And so Wayne County told us that, across the city, home assessed values have to come up roughly 15%. That was the number that they roughly gave us. And so we go through neighborhood by neighborhood, home by home. Well, not we, the assessment team does, and they come up with that number. And then secondly, the window of time is April 2020 to March 2022. And we're locked into looking at purchases that happened during that time period. And if people will know, March 2022 is, during that time period, interest rates were at 2.5%, 2% for some. And so you kind of saw this mortgage boom where people were paying really top dollar for their homes. But we're limited by the state and the county that we must use that time period to come up with assessed values. And then every year after this, obviously the time period changes and corrections get made based on the market. And so assessments have gone out. The March Board of Reviews is taking any dates if you'd like to come in and challenge those assessed values. And what I would advise residents is if you come in, if you really think that if you double the assessed value and that's not what you can get in the market, I think it's best to bring forward a private assessment if you have one that can help you, as well as bringing in some comparable sales that you think can also bring justification to your case. Assessed value is not taxable value. So assessed value tells you what we think your house is worth in the market in that specified time period. Taxable value, unless you purchased a home, that's a whole nother topic. Taxable value for almost all residents went up by 5%. That is determined by the state. So the state says there's something called an inflation rate multiplier. And so this goes up by the rate of inflation or 5%, whichever is less. And so for this year, it hit the cap, which is 5%. So taxes across the city at minimum will go up 5%. Now, you'll notice that in previous assessments, they used to give you a box and tell you, this is how much your taxes are going up or down by.
Right.
The reason it's not on there is, last year it wasn't on there as well. And most people saw a significant decrease in taxes because, 11 mills roughly came off. And so what happens is there's 6 mills that are levied by the schools called a hold harmless millage. It was levied 2 years ago. But as the state is increasing how much money they put in the school aid budget, those mills are being reduced by how much they're allowed to levy. So last year, the state informed the school district that they can't levy any of the 6, which is why they had 0 of the 6 levied, and people saw a major tax break, as well as the loss of the renewal of the supplemental operating millage for the city. That was another 3.5 mills, and then some other millages worked off. This year, the schools have not indicated if they are levying any portion of this millage. I don't believe they'll be levying all 6, but that they will not know how much they will levy until next month. And so once we're informed, then you'll see the actual property tax bills come out, indicating to you, you have the 5% inflation at bare minimum, and then if there's any increase that the schools are levying. So any additional increase on top of 5% will all be largely to the schools. So we're waiting for that information before those property tax bills come out. But again, if you believe that your home is not assessed properly, I encourage you to come to the March Board of Reviews. We want people to. If there is a mistake or if you believe that there's a strong argument to be made at a lower assessment, by all means bring it forward. I don't think the city does not want to unfairly assess any homeowner across the city. Our assessment team is there. The March Board of Reviews is made up of a citizen panel, 3 members. And if you appeal to the March Board of Reviews unsuccessfully, you can still go to the state tax tribunal and appeal there as well at the state level. And so I think there are several openings still in terms of appointments, several days that are open. So you're free to apply and bring that information in. Hopefully that covers most of it.
No, it does. I appreciate it, Mayor. And for the residents to know too, the window for that assessment time is it's right on the bill.
Correct.
It is a short time, so make sure you look into it. And I just wanted to make sure regarding the schools, Mayor, the 6 mills that you're indicating, I know you had indicated this in the bill in your letter last year. That one is not voter approved. They have the right to levy this.
That one is actually voter approved, and it's on the ballot in 2024. And so it's called hold harmless. We're a hold harmless district. And so these levy those mills, it came forward when the state drastically cut the school aid budget. Those mills kind of came forward to make sure that the schools were held harmless or made whole. And so that is going to be on the ballot, we believe, in 2024 again.
Right, but correct. But this year here, it's not a ballot initiative.
No, it's not a ballot
This
initiative.
is other like the last ballot initiative that failed by the schools.
Correct. This is not the schools will levy between 0 and 6, not based on what voters determine.
That's
It's
what I
based
meant.
on what the state will indicate to the schools that they can levy.
Right, and then the additional millages that they can bring on as well.
Correct.
Which the last one was unsuccessful. That's why I'm trying to make sure that the residents understand. This is over, there's other ones that might be coming as well.
Correct.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Councilman Abraham?
Yeah, on the, Mayor, if you could, on the topic of the assessments, and you and I had this talk, but just to share it, I think this year, obviously a new methodology produced some different results. People looking at their assessment, me included, saw drastic increases for the first time in a really long time, really since before the recession, of the state equalized value, the SEV value, something that I think a lot of people weren't accustomed to seeing. Typically, that SEV kind of trended with the market up 4 or 5%. I know there's a lot of examples of people's assessments going up not only double digits, but as high as 30, 40%. Can you shed some light on why that happened this year? And for me, you said overall we're going up 15%. If some houses are going up 40 and we're averaging 15, that means something else is happening somewhere else.
Yeah, it's a great question. So, my home went up nearly 30% in the assessed value. And so you have the land value and then the building improvement value. On the land value, if you look at there's roughly 2,400 sales between that 2-year time period. What the assessor determined is that, if you have a 15,000 square foot plot of land, the shape and size of that plot matters. If you can construct, if you have a lot of front footage, that's more valuable than having something that's skinny and narrow that you can't construct on. So rather than taking on the land value piece just simple square footage, they also assess what is the front footage, which allows you, that actually determines through our economic development department how large of a home you can actually construct in that parcel. As it pertains to the building improvement, the actual house, that, the traditional metrics matter. How many bedrooms, bathrooms, Cape Cod, colonial, attached garage, not attached garage. That kind of stayed the same. It was the land value that kind of changed. So that's one. I think what you saw is a market correction. So a lot of the assessed values for many that saw a drastic change is probably for homeowners that have not moved out of their home in quite some time. And so the assessed values drastically lagged behind true market value, is the argument that the assessor would make. And that comes to the point of Council President Serini. For most homeowners, if they purchased a home for somebody who's been living in a home for 20 years, the first thing you noticed was that the taxable value significantly surpassed what the assessed value was also on the notices of assessment. And so what the assessor expects to happen is kind of this market correction, especially using a 2-year window in which interest rates were the lowest in I don't know how many decades. So you also have those compounding effects. And so now you have that market correction, and then every year after this, you should kind of go back to the way you saw assessments go out, where minimal changes, a few percentages up and down per year off that. That's the explanation that I can offer. I know anybody that would like, if you come to the March Board of Reviews, our assessor is there. He's a level 4 assessor. And just to give Jacob's background, he was assessor for a few cities before the city of Dearborn, but most recently he was at the state of Michigan where he trained assessors. That was his actual job, and so he's pretty remarkably intelligent. And so I bring folks, he has a way of breaking down these complex topics and to simplifying them. I don't know if I'm doing it justice, I'm trying. I've learned enough to, I think, maybe be a level 1 and a 0.5 assessor. But that's kind of where I am right now.
I don't know. I do appreciate it, Mayor. I had a great conversation with him. I think his methodology was, I don't want to say he dumbed it down, but he brought it very simple to me on his aspect. I mean, it's really comes down to cost recovery.
I'll make one last point. You also have something called the economic condition factor that goes into determining these assessments. Previously, the city just had one ECF for the whole city, which is not best practice. And so what he has now is a unique ECF, neighborhood by neighborhood, based on type of build, new build, existing build. So previously that ECF was roughly 1.6, which would indicate that for every dollar you spend, you get an additional 60 cents in value. And then obviously in today's market, that isn't wholly the case, especially with inflated construction costs. So a lot of the ECFs that you'll see in some neighborhoods are like 0.89, 0.90, 0.97. What that means is for every dollar you spend, you're actually losing 10 cents or 3 cents in those improvements that you're making on your household because of the cost that you're currently paying to make those improvements. So it's real-time adjustment. It makes more sense to have these unique ECFs based on the neighborhood that you reside in, because the biggest factor, again, to your assessed value is location, location, location. That is the ultimate determinant as it pertains to factors for your home value.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Mayor. And as you indicated, I mean, having a methodology that's based on cost, as we do, and the council's working on now, where you use the cost of what it costs for material to build. When you have 2x4s going from $1.80 to $9 and $10 is not feasible for long run. So I do appreciate that, and he explained it to me, and I thought it was very fair. And bottom line, it's best practices in municipalities. Is that correct? And not to have an ECF for the entire city. Correct. And I think that's going to help adjust. But I think, as you indicated, Mayor, the best for a resident to do is save this one, look at next year, and I think it will be a correction. You will not see these swings right now.
Absolutely, but again, if you feel that your home is not fairly
Yes,
assessed,
come
I
in.
want to encourage you to come in to the March Board of Reviews to make sure that we're assessing fairly.
Right, thank you, Mayor. All right, Councilwoman Herrick?
Just a quick question about that. Is the city going to put an explanation about how this works onto the website as a resource to help residents understand? Because your explanation was very helpful, and I'm sure we'll be sharing it, since it'll be online, available online, the video. But if a kind of a primer is available in writing from the city, I think that would be helpful to a lot of people.
Yeah, I think I made a general post, kind of highlighting some of the things with the notice of assessment on my Facebook when the assessments came out. I'll connect to see if there's anything more tangible that we can stick up on the city website.
Because that's more of a permanent record.
I think what I found is that it's a very, it's a dense topic. And short of you sitting with somebody and actually walking through what is SEV versus assessed value versus taxable value, are my taxes going up? So even if my assessed value went up 30%, my taxes are only going up 5%. It's a very dense topic, and so what I can encourage folks is to schedule that meeting appointment, come in, sit down with an assessor. I'm not the expert. I can only regurgitate what the expert tells me. I think I do a good job at that. But I think sitting down with the assessor is the most beneficial, but we'll look to see if we can stick anything up.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. All right, anything else from my colleagues? Councilwoman Herrick?
Thank you, Council President. I have a couple of things. First and foremost, I would like to wish a happy 22nd birthday to my son, Brendan Hay. He turned 22 yesterday, and we had a family celebration last week, had a good time. But I'm so proud of you, Brendan, at 22, what you're accomplishing, and go blue. Secondly, March is Women's History Month, and I just wanted to talk for a moment about the importance of this, not only here in Dearborn, but around the world. Women's History Month is a celebration of women's contributions to history and culture and society, and it's been observed annually here in the United States during the month of March by a presidential proclamation since 1987. But going back even further, recognizing the contributions of women is International Women's Day, which is today, March 8th. And that's a global day celebrating the social, economic, and cultural and political achievements of women and recognizing the challenges that women continue to face. International Women's Day was first recognized in 1911, and at that time was supported by over 1 million women or people around the globe. Over a century later, while celebrating women's contributions to society, International Women's Day also highlights the struggles of women in countries around the world and marks a call to action for accelerating women's equality. Despite enormous success and great achievements of women around the world, there is the reality that the state of women's rights and varies and differs from one society to another. The struggle for securing and living up to the promise of women's rights continues. There is no doubt that women's rights in certain countries continues to be a mere promise. Women's rights are human rights. The success of any nation is measured by its commitment to protect, defend, preserve, and advance human rights for all people. So today, I'd like to honor the women who paved the way for giving the women of today the opportunities that we see today. And remember that still we must uplift and fight for the women around the world who struggle for equality, opportunity, and quality of life. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Anything else from my council colleagues? Councilman Hamud?
Yeah, just a couple of events that are coming up this week. Usually I leave it to Councilwoman Herrick, but
I have something else long to say.
Oh, okay, yeah, so we have the Dearborn Area Board of Realtors is hosting a Home and Garden Expo on March 12th at Park Place Banquet Hall from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. So there's going to be garden experts there to give talks, and then there's also going to be a variety of food trucks. I know people get excited about Cousins Maine Lobster. It's going to be there, and there's going to be actually flower trucks and things like that. So I think that's going to be a fun event. And then actually for St. Patrick's Day, the Dearborn Symphony Orchestra is also hosting an event on Friday, March 17th at 8 p.m. at the Ford Performing Arts Center. So that's going to be like an Irish music themed event. So for everybody who's interested in that, I think you guys will find that a good time on St. Patrick's Day if you're not out doing other things. So,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other comments from my colleagues?
I have a question.
Councilwoman Herrick?
Mayor, would you like to talk about the Rotary's 100th anniversary since you are the honorary chair?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The Rotary's 100th anniversary, I didn't have it on my notes, but thanks for bringing it up, is on March 18th. It's over at the Ford Performing Arts Center. Yes, I think it's going to be in the mezzanine area. So 100 years of celebration. I'll be calling some of you to try to see if we can get some donations out of you to support the Rotary, so look out for those phone calls. But an exciting event. I think it's the first event also my wife co-chaired in the city of Dearborn, and so I think the only thing they have it listed, they're like Fatima Beydoun, nobody, they're like wife's mayor, or mayor's wife. So I was she was just like, do people not know who I am? I said,
Just a Dr. Fatima Beydoun.
yeah, it was just a funny thing. But we're excited for that event, 100 years of Rotary service. So a great organization in the city.
Can I just add a little bit on there,
Go for it.
Mayor? Because as the mayor referred to, it's actually 2 events in one. If you'd like to attend the reception beforehand in the mezzanine level, there will be food, and the Henry Ford Big Band will be playing beginning at 7 p.m., I think. And at 7, or no, that begins at 5. But then at 7 p.m. is a wonderful concert. It's the Dennis Edwards Temptations Review. So if you're a Temptations fan, phenomenal concert in the theater. Opening up for that performance is another popular act here locally and across the country. Thornetta Davis, known as Detroit's Queen of the Blues, will be performing. So you can get a ticket to all of that or just the concert if you'd like to just go to the concert that night. And details and tickets are available on the theater's website at the Performing Arts Center website.
All right, thank you, Councilman Herrick. Anything else from my colleagues? Okay, anything from the mayor, administration?
Just wanted to wish our Director of Finance, the People's Finance Director, he's not here, a happy birthday.
Oh, really?
He's watching though, because he
Is that why he
cannot
wore a
watch.
suit? He wore a suit jacket the other day. I was wondering if that was
I
his
think
birthday.
tomorrow's his wife's birthday.
Nice.
So happy birthday to both of them. Happy birthday to Mian Soba, who I think is also this week. She's sitting in the audience. I think in terms of events, Dearborn Restaurant Week.
Yes.
We have 50 restaurants to try in 10 days before Ramadan hits. And so I think that's an audacious goal that we can all try to achieve, even if you're not fasting. It's just, try it out. I think lastly, Dearborn Parks and Recreation, we're hosting the first ever Youth Sports Partnership Town Hall. And so this is going to be on March 14th from 7 to 8 at the Studio A. We're inviting all the youth sports organizations to have a town hall with the Parks and Rec team, with the administration, to talk about expectations, longevity of these partnerships, what we can do to also help facilitate what they're doing throughout the city. And so it's the first of its kind. We're excited to have it. So great idea that came forth from Parks and Rec team. And lastly, obviously Women's History Month. So shout out to my all seniors, all Access, if you don't know, it's all female senior staff. And so shout out there. My senior staff, all women. Big shout out to my wife, who is the boss of all bosses. My daughter, I know it's still early, but as well as every other woman in my life. So shout out to all of you who just do it better than men.
Appreciate that, Mayor. Anything from the clerk's department?
No, nothing from the clerk, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Clerk. At this time, we have concluded our meeting and open to our public comment section. If there's anybody here who'd like to speak to the council regarding city business, please step forward to state your name and address for the record. Hearing and seeing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn by Councilman Howard. We are adjourned.
Thank you.